These are the four major components of how to run an absolute power sales call for your agency. Hey there, I'm Ben Gerster, and I scaled my digital marketing agency from zero to over $400,000 in monthly reoccurring revenue, and I used this exact framework to close new leads for our agency. Does this sound familiar? You take a call, you pitch, you kind of fumble through it. It feels like you got the vibes on the call. They tell you they're going to think about it, and then they completely ghost you. Well, this is because you did not build a good mousetrap that took them all the way through the buying process to get them to actually close. Now, the reality is, if we're going to get clients to quickly make decisions with us, my sales process is a 30-minute call that I run with new prospects that takes us all the way from hello to send me the proposal. Okay, so there are 4 phases to my 30-minute sales call. The first phase is discovery. Discovery is where we want to very rapidly and quickly introduce ourselves, introduce the agency, and then move through discovery questions. No time for chit chat, no time for making small talk. That's not what the prospect is looking for. They want to get the information they came for and move on. They do not want to sit there and have small talk with somebody that they don't know, they don't trust, and they have no idea whether they should have taken this call. So I move right past that into our discovery questions. In discovery, we want to ask a few critical questions such as, what was it that made you want to take time out of your busy schedule to have this call today? So that question right there is going to be an open-ended question that's going to help that prospect actually tell you and reframe what is their problem, why did they take time out of their schedule to meet with you, and actually tell you what they're looking to do with your agency. From that problem, we want to be able to dive deeper and ask a lot of critical questions. We want to really understand where our solution and our service fits for this particular client. So you really want to dig deep. Don't just take a service level answer like, hey, we're really looking for SEO services. We need to replace our vendor. Oh, tell me why that's the case. What happened with your current vendor, your current agency? Why aren't they performing for you? Where did you see missed opportunities? Why do you think that was happening? Ask all the questions so that you truly can sense this is where I can match our service to their particular frustrations or their problems to help them hit their goal. Now, another important question we must be asking in discovery is a goal-focused question. We need to understand what this client is trying to actually achieve. We're going to ask an open-ended question and just say something like, hey, in 12 months from now, should you look back on today and we work together, what would need to happen for you to be happy with that decision? Let them answer that question. They will tell you what they're trying to produce. Once you've gotten clear, what is the problem? What are the goals that that person's trying to produce? Then you can move forward to the next stage of the call. The second stage of the call, adding value. This is where we want to reduce skepticism because, let's be honest, they don't trust any agency on the first call that they've met them. They have no idea if we're completely full of bullshit or whether we actually are experts of our space. This is our opportunity to demonstrate the expertise and reduce skepticism. It's also a place where we're just going to simply help the client. So this is my favorite part of the sales call, and ultimately this is the most powerful part of the call. This is where I close most of the businesses that I talk to. So what we do in value is we simply find an opportunity to teach the prospect something related to the problem that they're having or the goal that they're trying to achieve. Now, one of the best ways I've found to teach and sell our agency in a positive light is with case studies. Now, this is not a typical case study presentation. This is not where we open up case studies and say, well, let me show you some of the things that we've done as an agency. We. This is not talking about us as an agency. Very, very important. The spotlight is not on us. The spotlight is on the prospect's problem or goal. So what we want to do when we present that case study is we want to think about getting onto the client's side of the table, sitting next to them, and looking at a case study in the marketplace that demonstrates a tactic that they could be using to solve their problem. So a lot of times I like to talk about the case study by saying, Client, I'd love to walk you through something. I think there's something here that you guys should be thinking about. This might actually be a really powerful strategy for you. Let me show you something. I'll open up the case study and I'll say, these guys over here, they do X, Y, and Z. They might be in the same industry. They might have the exact same marketing problem. There should be some connection. These guys over here had a similar problem as you guys, and what's really interesting is how they solved it. They went about it by doing X, Y, and Z. And what's really unique about their solution is they actually did it this way that's a little different than the average brand does this, and it got them these results. So I really think that you guys could be running a play a lot like this, and it would solve this exact problem that you're talking about. Now, this is incredibly disarming, and it's absolutely magic because we're showing them a case study that we actually produced the results of. We didn't come in and try to steal the credit for it, so we were very disarming and trustworthy as we talked through it. Our logo is at the top of the page showing the case study to them. So of course it's our work. Of course we're getting credit for it as we're talking about it. But the magic is in the positioning. The fact that we said what they did, because this makes it look like an opportunity that the customer has, our prospect has, to solve their problem. Now, you may not have an exact case study to go to, and sometimes you can just teach them about something that you've learned that's happening in that particular industry or in your space. So again, I'm trying to find something that isn't just about the agency, that can demonstrate why they should be taking action now on what our agency can provide them. And it's a free consult, essentially. They should be walking away from the call saying, I learned something new. If you don't feel like you're teaching them something new, you're probably not adding enough value in that moment. Now, there's an important transition coming out of value and getting into pitch. That transition is getting permission for you to pitch that client. I love to ask for permission because it helps the call feel more organic, natural, and it demonstrates to me that I've built enough rapport with this particular prospect to now head into a pitch. I know they're engaged. I know they're actively listening. So I want to ask them, hey, does this sound like something that could solve your problem to you? Do you feel like that would be the direction you might want to take on this? They'll say, yeah, that actually seems really interesting. Okay, cool. Do you want me to show you how our agency can help you do that? Yes. So I'm getting permission at that point. I'm going to show you how we can do that for you. They'll tell you, yes, great, now it's comfortable opening up the deck. All right, so now we're in step 3 of the call. We're in the pitch. Now the pitch needs to be 5 minutes or less. Again, keep in mind, I'm running this as a 30-minute discovery call where we go from discovery to value to pitch and then to close. So in the pitch section, we want to have a very clearly organized deck. Usually it's about 5 slides. I do not do 30-page decks with clients. They don't have the bandwidth for it. I don't want to waste the time either, especially if this is not a good fit. So I want to have a deck that simply steps through some critical things for me to explain how we solve that problem. Number 1, what is the dream outcome? What are we out there helping our clients achieve? So let's identify the dream outcome that we are producing for our clients. Get clear about the dream outcome that they are trying to solve, that you're helping them achieve. Slide 2 is going to be outlining for them the proven process that you have developed at your agency to produce that outcome. So name the process and then show each step of your proven process. This is your intellectual property. I like to do this as an infographic so that it's visual, so that we can see that there is a very clearly orchestrated process to produce a reliable output. Now, as I take the customer through these steps of our proven process, there's 2 important factors in how I talk about each one of the steps. I need to explain the what, and I need to explain the why it's valuable to them. So simply state, what is this step of the process? Well, first we build a strategy, we look at market research, and we develop your core offer for the marketplace so that you have a clear plan for how we're going to attack this. So each one of the steps, we should have that recipe. What is it and why is it value for them? This should take no more than 2 minutes to walk through this part of the presentation. The next step is for us to show them the roadmap. What is our timeline for execution? Usually I do this under a 90-day roadmap. I like short-term goals because I know prospects are looking for a de-risk factor. They need to know that we're going to get to an outcome quickly for them. And so I like to show them this is what the first 90 days looks like. This is how we go from A to Z in 90 days. The first 30 days look like this, the next 30 days look like this, and the last 30 days look like this. By defining what the deliverables are and the progression of our work and the way that we go through that process and when we go through it, I've answered almost all of the questions that I typically would get in an initial call, such as how long does onboarding take? When do we actually get the whatever first deliverable is? How do we know we're getting results? All of that is described in the first 90-day timeline for them. Okay, so now we've gone through the core components of the pitch. We've talked about what the dream outcome is that we solve. We've talked about the proven process we use as an agency. We've talked about the roadmap for how we get there and how long it takes to get there. At this stage, we are ready to move into the close of the call. But before we move on to the close, we have to make sure the prospect doesn't have any questions. We do not want to start pitching pricing before they've asked all of their questions. So we need to gut check ourselves with the prospect. Simply ask them, now that you've seen how our solutions work, does this look like the type of thing that you guys would be looking for? Does this seem like a good fit for you? They'll tell you, well, yeah, actually, this seems like it would totally solve the problem. We need to dig deeper and make sure there's no questions. So we want to follow up to that by saying, okay, great. So it seems like this is a good fit. You guys didn't have any initial questions. Outside of budget, is there any reason that you guys wouldn't move forward with this today? Now, look, most time if you're selling B2B, they may not move forward with it on that day. That's expected. But I like to ask that question, because they're going to tell us what's going on timeline-wise right as I ask it. So they'll say, we're thinking about this for Q4, or we're thinking about this for next year, or we're just shopping around right now. Those are all objections that I need to hear. I'd like to handle those objections outside of the price objection conversation. So if I have a prospect that says, well, we're actually just thinking about this for Q4, I want to be able to get in front of that and say, well, wait a minute, but you guys talked about this goal and this problem that you were having. That sounded like that was more urgent for you to solve before Q4. What happens if you don't solve this in Q3? And so I want to get them thinking about, no, you're right. We actually probably do need to be thinking about this starting sooner. This is a bigger problem for us. So I want to get to the point where I totally understand the timing of this. All right, moving on to the fourth phase. Once we've gotten all those answers, and again, we want to hear before we move on to this fourth phase that outside of budget, this solution is perfect for us. Now, when we move into the close, we are going to present a slide that has our pricing on it. It is going to be very clear. Usually you've got a simple way of pricing your service, whether that's a fixed monthly rate, whether you have tiers of service. Simply present the pricing on a single page. Don't over-explain the pricing. Just say, we're at XYZ price per month. We have a 90-day minimum term on this, and we have a $1,000 setup fee. Allow the person to see the pricing. Stop talking as soon as you've mentioned, our price is this, we do it on a minimum term, and we have a $1,000 setup fee. Stop talking. Let the person review, and they will start asking you questions. They'll say, okay, well, wait a minute, what is the setup fee? Now, the setup fee is absolutely critical for your close. This setup fee is going to be what creates a sense of urgency. You can say, we recognize our best fit as clients are those that make quick decisions and know that this is the right solution for them. I like to let them know if we can move forward within the next week, this is something that I can get removed, because it really does mean that we're going to save time going back and forth, and we know that we're a really good fit for what you guys are looking for. Those end up being our best relationships. Now, no matter what this prospect is telling me, we want to make sure that we advance that sale. We wouldn't have presented pricing if the client said this didn't look like it was a good fit. As we present pricing, we talk through the setup fee, then we want to advance the sale with them. And at this stage, it's pretty simple. They'll say, yes, this looks great. I got to go review it with my team. No problem. I understand you have to review this with your team. Why don't I send you a copy of this deck along with some case studies for you guys to look at? But let's go ahead and book a call for next Wednesday because I'm sure your team will have questions and I don't want you to miss out on saving that $1,000 setup fee. Notice immediately that is starting to help us. We have a reason to help this client by being aggressive in our resetting of the follow-up call and while we're in email in between those calls. The setup fee gives us permission to be more aggressive because we're actually doing it to help them save money, not just because we're trying to close a deal. Set that meeting on the call. Do not get off the call without setting that follow-up meeting. Then you can package everything up. You can send it over to them. You may be generating the proposal at that time. Send it all over to them. And then make sure in between your calls that you're doing follow-ups just to check in. Hey guys, I just wanted to check in, see if your team had any questions. I'm looking forward to talking to you Wednesday. Again, I just want to make sure we get that opportunity to save you guys on the setup fee. So you're always going to reuse that to let them know I'm not here to have commission breath and try to close you. I'm here to help you guys actually save money and make a great decision that's going to help you hit your goals. These are the 4 major components of how to run an absolute power sales call for your agency. There's a lot of tools that we've developed, so check the links below for a sample of our pitch deck template, which is a basic framework of what we've walked through today, along with the sales script for these 4 major sections of the sales call. So if this helped you reframe how you think about your sales calls, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Each week I drop a new video with a focus on helping agency owners build smarter, better businesses and better lives. Until the next time, stay sharp, stay hungry, and keep evolving.